Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Coffee and Conversation right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Rhea. I am your host, and today I am pleased to welcome Lynne Edwards from Luxury Hospitality Management. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you. Very, very well. As I said to you, I'm having a lovely lockdown, so I feel good.
Well, you have been incredibly busy. I mean, we've been trying to arrange for an interview, and you're just absolutely swamped.
Yeah, yeah. It is really a busy time for us, even though we can't get out training, which is what we love to do. We're very busy getting things organised and moving the company forward and doing the things that we know we're going to be doing as soon as we get out of lockdown. So it's been a really exciting time for us. We have a very dynamic team. So we work very well together, and I think it makes a huge difference to work in a team because we inspire each other. So we have three times a week we have team calls, so we catch up on what all of us is doing, whether it's in the back end doing the media or doing the accounting or doing the whatever they're doing, and the front end of people who like us, who like myself and Julia, who runs the insight training. We do that together, and other people who do the service training. There's so much going on, so it's fantastic to see what everyone else is doing. It's been really good.
Nice. Well, you are an insight specialist, but we're going to get to that in a minute. I want you to explain what that is exactly. But where are you from originally, and sort of what brought you? What was your journey to where you are today?
Where am I from? Well, I was born in Cornwall, in born in Cornwall in England, and then at the age of 7, my twin sister and I and our family moved to Guernsey. My father had a job there, so we moved there, and I did all my schooling there, right up to A levels. And at that point, I had a bit of an epiphany because I had always thought I would be a teacher, and specifically an English teacher. So, having done my A levels, I suddenly thought, oh my gosh, no, this isn't going to be for me. So, I hightailed down to the careers office and started to go through some prospectuses and thought, what else can I do? And I came across hotel management and tourism. So, I thought, yes, this sounds much more exciting. So, I applied for a position at Oxford Brookes, which was then Oxford Polytechnic, and did a degree in hotel management, which I absolutely loved. Came back to Guernsey for my internship. Worked in a hotel and worked in the hospital kitchens because we did everything. So we did that for the second 2 trimesters, and then once I qualified, I came back to Guernsey and started working in hotels. But by that time, I had itchy feet, so I then took on a couple of other jobs because I really wanted to go travelling. So I worked in rose vineries, which is what I used to do in my school holidays, and worked full time. We did that in the weekends. I worked full time as a hotel receptionist, and in the evenings I worked in a bar as a waitress, a bartender, which I loved. So I got enough money, which was I think it was £650 at that time. To sold my car and off I went travelling. I put my bright orange rucksack on and I took off in a very naive way, I have to say, at the age of 21, and literally took off around the world. My end point was Australia, and I went through Europe and Asia, Southeast Asia, and down to Australia. And I had many scrapes along the way. It just made me the person I was. I think I came here to learn self-sufficiency. Because I came from this little island, as I said, 7 by 9, and I just had drawn this route on a world map of all the places that I'd basically heard of or thought would be fun to visit. So all the way down Africa, the east coast of Africa and all that sort of thing. Great fun. And ended up in Australia with $25 in my pocket, having got stuck in Nepal for a month, sold all the clothes I didn't have to wear, sold books, and we lived on pie, I think, for about 2 weeks. At a time when there was only electricity for every other day in different parts of Nepal. So it was a great adventure. So anyway, I then took a job I was offered a job went for an interview, offered a job as relief assistant manager at the Sheraton in Perth, Western Australia. So I took that and really enjoyed it. I found night shifts really difficult.
I can imagine.
Yes, I was always almost asleep by 4 o'clock in the morning. So anyway, I did that for a while, and then I decided I hadn't finished my traveling journey. So I handed in my notice. I then went traveling. I spent some time down in New Zealand, about 4 months down in New Zealand, came back to Sydney and worked for about a year as a front office manager in a hotel and conference centre in Sydney. And then my mother got remarried, so I came back to Guernsey just to go to the wedding. And at that time, my twin sister was working on super yachts, was working on a yacht. It was probably about 35 meters. We're talking 1981. So that was a big yacht in those days. So I came down after the wedding with her to the south of France, just to have a holiday. I went skiing for the first time in my life. And then I was offered a job on a yacht. And so I thought, why not? I had never heard of the yachting industry. So I thought, I can work in hotels whenever I like. I'll give this thing a go. Anyway, fast forward 12 years, and I was still working on yachts. I'd been chief stewardess on some sizable yachts by then. And then I got married and had children. I was 4 months pregnant when I left my last yacht to get married, had children, then stayed in the hospitality sector and worked for a company called Abercrombie and Kent, which is a high-end tour operator, and managed a program for them whereby we, as a company, leased 4 very special properties in the south of France, from Monaco to Cannes and up into the hinterland. And my job was villa manager and concierge. So it was very much like being a chief stewardess, but on land. So this suited me very well because I had, by that time, had 2 little children, 2 boys at home. So I did that for a while. And then I was asked to do some training for blue water yachting. And never having trained before. Well, I did actually. I did a little bit of training for an ordinary national diploma group in Guernsey when I was in my early 20s, but I hadn't done any formal training. So I said yes to that. And I trained on and off for them for about 10 years. And then after that for other training companies in the south of France. And then decided, in my wisdom, which was wonderful 3 years ago, to go back to yachts. So at the ripe old age of 60 odd, I went back to be a chief stewardess for a couple of years on a yacht which is based in Mallorca, and I absolutely loved it. I then made a decision to come ashore and stay ashore for various reasons, and was subsequently offered a job to join luxury hospitality. And Peter and I had known each other for a long time through the training circles. I'd long wanted to work for the company. And at last the time was right. And so I said yes. And that's how I came to be working for luxury hospitality, which I love.
Do you know what is interesting? In the interviews that I've done with other people that work at luxury hospitality management, it seems that there is a desire to work for luxury hospitality management prior to ever getting, and for some, a year or 2 years before they actually embark on the journey. And there is something magical about Peter and what he's created, because I don't know, it flows. It's a lovely organization with a lot of lovely people working for it.
We do have a very, very special team. And of course, it does come from the top. Peter is a magical person. He's a very heart-centered person. All of us want to do the work we do because we really want it to benefit other people. And it's been very interesting for me. I've watched Peter's career and the ups and downs of it for a long time. And I think the reason that he is the person he is today and the manager and the CEO he is today is because of all the challenges he's had and because of all the successes he's had. He's had an enormously illustrious career. So we all work for a person that we admire hugely. And we all get a sense that the people in the team also have their own interesting stories and lots to bring to the company. So it is, it's a very good company. We offer a fantastic training, and I feel very proud to be part of it.
Well, something that I find interesting is you are an insight specialist. Can you tell us what that means?
Yes. So insight really means to have an in-depth knowledge of something. And a program called Insight has been recently created by Luxury Hospitality. Julia, my training partner, who you have interviewed, is the head of Insight, and I am her cohort. So we work very closely together, having been very good friends for about 10 years. So what we do essentially is based on our program of talent dynamics. And talent dynamics is a profiling tool that we use to really get into the nitty-gritty of who people are and how suitable they are for the roles in which they're going to be employed. Whether it's on a yacht or whether it's a land-based job, we would give them a personality profiling test to do, the talent dynamic test. We then gather the results of that and do debriefs with them to dig a little bit deeper into who they are, what makes them function, where their strengths lie, what they enjoy doing, where their inherent strengths are, where they're, well, and when I say inherent strengths, I mean those strengths, those qualities that you are born with. Somehow you have always been naturally good at something. And then you have strengths in your character that have been built up through your life's experience, so what you've learned along the way. And generally you engage in things that you really enjoy doing, because those are the things that you're going to be naturally good at. And when you're naturally good at something and you enjoy doing something, it's a wonderful way to earn a living, because the work doesn't feel like work. You're really doing something that lines up with your own values and interests and love for what you're doing. So being an insight specialist really means gathering that information about people.
Well, this is something, I was lucky enough to have taken this test, for lack of anything better to call it. But it's really interesting, and it isn't something necessarily that is solely for crew. I mean, you could have a CEO of a company that could do this to find out where their inherent strengths are and who they need to hire in order to fulfill those areas in which are not their natural strengths.
Exactly. And we do this with very high level people, general managers, CEOs, owners of companies. We do that because it's interesting for them to recognize themselves, because sometimes you don't always recognize yourself as the person that other people see you as, and also see where, exactly as you say, Rhea, where you may have challenges in doing something, or you just don't have an interest in doing it, and other people can pick that up. So in order to build a really cohesive, high-functioning team, you need to have people with lots of different personalities to complete that balance in the team.
Well, for sure. And I mean, it's really quite interesting, because sometimes we kind of get down on ourselves for not being capable of doing everything that is set before us. But why do we need to? Because we really don't.
We absolutely don't. And I have taught so many chief stewardesses, for example, who feel they need to be the best at everything. And this puts an enormous burden on them. Not only does it put a burden on them because they probably may not be the best at everything, and therefore they will that will compromise how they feel with their other team members, but they're also denying the other team members the ability to shine in an area. So if, for example, a chief stewardess is not super creative, she's very good at all the technical stuff, she's very good at making lists and schedules and writing SOPs and all of this sort of stuff, but she's really not the best at flower arranging or doing fabulous turn down designs or folding towels in magnificent ways. But she has a second stewardess who's super good at that. But the chief stewardess feels she needs to do it. Well, you're compromising the whole team. So why not give those lovely creative jobs to somebody who's inherently good at them? They'll enjoy their job more, and you can only be as good as your weakest team member. So get everybody to work in their own strengths. It's a fantastic tool for deciding where those strengths lie and being able to use them.
Well, and how can this tool help in hiring practices?
Well, once we have the profile, it starts with the employee. So either the man I'll talk about it in terms of a yacht. So if the management company say we're looking for a captain, we have this position available. He needs to have these technical skills, and we're really looking for somebody who's very personable or whatever it might be. Give us the basics of what there is. If we have, for example, already given our talent dynamics tool to the first mate and the bosun and the deck crew and the chief stewardess and the purser, we know exactly where all of those strengths lie. So we know exactly what we're looking for. So we can interview various candidates, normally with the management company sitting in, if they want to do that, so they can make their own judgments too. And we can do this really in-depth personality profiling of that person based on who they really are and where they're going to fit best into the team. And so candidates can be chosen at a much deeper level, a much more comprehensive level.
Well, and I can imagine that because crew are quite special in the fact that you are confined to small spaces for very long periods of time, finding the right dynamic is of the utmost importance.
Yes, of course it is, because technical skills are one thing. You can have all the technical skills in the world, but if you are somebody who can't get on with other people, none of those technical skills will count for anything. It's much the personality and where you're going to fit in as it is your technical and your cognitive skills. So it's really important because it's especially because who you are, who you show up to be in the crew or in an office dynamic or wherever else it might be, you are going to affect the rest of the team. You are absolutely going to affect them by being the person you are. If you have negative energy, people are going to pick up on that. If you're given jobs to do which you're not very good at, that is going to cause some sort of negative reaction in you. People will pick up on that too, and it will change the dynamic of the team. So it's critical to get choices correct right from the beginning. I personally believe it would be something that every crew agent should engage in. They should be giving their candidates these personality tests. Once they've done them, of course, they're available. The candidates themselves have their own test results, so they could go to whoever in the crew agent and say, I am a this, I am a creator, I'm a deal maker, I'm a mechanic, whatever it might be that their profile has come out with. And those crew agents will say, you're exactly the person we're looking for, without having to go through all the other stuff. They can see their technical skills, their cognitive skills. Who are they? If everybody used it, it would make crew agents and management companies' jobs so much easier. So much easier.
Well, and would that also apply to an owner? Would it make it easier if it was not a charter yacht, but an owner-used yacht? Would it not make it easier to have the owner do a profile so that you knew the crew that would fit that owner best?
Yes, of course, because and I feel that sometimes we put our owners on this little pedestal and we forget that they actually are human. They're not superhuman. They are human. They do have their frailties. Everybody does. They do have their strengths. They do have a certain way in which they wanted to be communicated with. They do have a certain way in which they want to behave and be and have people move around them according to their personalities. If we knew what our owners were like, we could absolutely fulfill their needs at a much deeper level. Yes, it would be wonderful.
Well, because I could imagine that a lot of issues with crew, and I've seen it myself over the years, it's not that anybody is incompetent per se, it's just that when you're confined to such small spaces, there are personality conflicts on board, and unfortunately somebody tends to lose their job over that.
Yeah, it's true. And we're talking about an age group who's, in some cases, you're in your 20s, your personalities haven't fully developed. If I look at myself today as the person I am now, with my life experience, with having had children, with going through the things that I've been through, and I look at myself nearly 40 years ago as a young steward, chief stewardess, I am completely different. I would manage people now in a very different way from the way that I did then. So these are often life skills that we learn along the way, that are making us the people that we are. And if you're in your early 20s, you haven't got this fully rounded personality very often. Some might. But of course, you're trying to manage other people without proper management skills. And the management skills begin with self-management. It's all about knowing self. This is what we teach in our insight courses and our leadership management courses. It's emotional intelligence. When you are emotionally intelligent, in other words, you can define the emotions of yourself, where they start, how to change them around if you need to. You can then more easily define that in other people. You cannot be a good leader if you don't have emotional intelligence skills.
Well, one thing that I wanted to ask you as well, and this is just in general, both you and Julia are very, very positive people and almost mentoring type people with your ability to be passionate and your ability to be positive. We are all just coming out of almost a 2-month lockdown, and we have been spending an awful lot of time on social media and I'm sure there are people out there comparing what they're doing in their life's path to those that are, becoming a massive chef or, becoming the best gardener on the face of the planet. What kind of advice would you give to those people?
So you are only responsible for yourself and the way that you're going to feel. It's really important to know that your thoughts, and we have 70,000 of them every day, your thoughts create your emotions, which create your feelings, which determine your behavior. It's as simple as that. And the other thing to remember, which is amazing, is that we have control over our own thoughts. We can change our thoughts around. We can change a negative thought to a positive thought. Once you get to the stage where you are recognizing your own thoughts, you're having an awareness of your own thoughts, probably because you feel your energy levels dipping. So if you are somebody that engages in social media or watches the news very often, tap into your body, see what's happening. If you're watching back-to-back newsreels and you know the body count of every country that has been affected by corona, you are going to be having a negative energy flowing through your body. It's quite often it's easy to forget that as much as we have circulatory systems, we have respiratory systems, we have endocrine systems, we have energy systems in our bodies. They flow through us, through the chakras. They are intangible, but very, very powerful things. So your thoughts are streams of energy. Your thoughts are creating your emotions. Your emotions are creating a physical reaction in your body. You've all experienced this. If you've ever been to a horror movie, you're perfectly safe, you're sitting in your seat, you've got your Coca-Cola and your bag of popcorn, you're with your friends, fabulous. Suddenly on the screen comes the mad axe murderer, and all of a sudden, your body is reacting to it. Your pupils dilate, your digestion slows down, your heart's racing, your palms are sweating, all sorts of things are going on. Your thoughts are telling you that you're in danger. This is what your thoughts are doing to your body. When you are having negative thoughts, and this negative thought, it might put you into a state of fear, fear being false evidence appearing real. You've got thoughts which are telling you you're in danger, or you might lose your job, or you might get the coronavirus, or your family might get it, or the economy is going to collapse. All of this is supposition, but you've got it going on in your head, and you're processing it in a way that's putting you into a negative, fearful state. What's happening in your body? You're creating adrenaline. So if you've got these high states of adrenaline and cortisol, which are only meant to be given in a quick burst when you're running away from saber-toothed tigers, if you've got this stuff constantly in your stream, in your energy stream, in your physical body, in your biophysical stream, you are going to start suffering from stress. PTSD is exactly that. Because you're at high levels of stress and adrenaline, cortisol for prolonged periods of time, which you're not supposed to be. That's not a natural state for us. You're going to start feeling stress. Stress will then be manifested as your hair falling out, your skin breaking out, your digestive system feeling compromised, all sorts of stuff. Cancers are produced by stress, essentially. So you need to control your thoughts. How do you do that? You get in touch with them. You create an awareness around them. What is triggering this negative emotion? I'm watching too much television with the news. I'm dipping into social media. I'm on social media every day. I don't know why. I don't see this stuff. I see positive stuff. I have this filter. I literally have this filter which doesn't bring that into my awareness. I don't watch news. If I want to know what the new directives in France are, because I'm living here in France, I will tap into a Facebook site called Rhea Reporter, which I know will give really comprehensive, well-educated opinions of what we should be doing. So if I know a new directive's coming out, I'm going to go in there. 11th of May, next Monday, I'll be straight on there to see what we're allowed to do. Are we allowed to go out? If we are, what have we got to do? Have we got to wear a mask? But I don't think about it on a day-to-day basis. So does that mean that I don't care about what's going on in the world? No, I care hugely. But can I do anything about what's going on by being in a negative state? No. Can I do anything by keeping my state in a happy state? Yes. I'm caring for my own well-being, and I have my two sons here at home with me. I'm vicariously caring for their well-being because they don't want to come and see me sitting at my work desk in a negative state. I'm happy when I see them. I'm happy with my work. I give gratitude. This is the one thing. If anybody's on here and they're going down this negative spiral, gratitude is a fabulously positive emotion. It's so easy. You feel yourself feeling helpless or unhappy or disappointed or let down or fearful or whatever it is. Start giving gratitude for the smallest things in your life. And the best time to do this is just as you're waking up or just as you're going to sleep, because you're in a theta state and your brain waves, and that is a more powerful state to absorb this into your being. So at night, if you're doing it, as you go to sleep, your subconscious mind is working on that, and you are going to wake up in a happier, more positive state. So what can you give gratitude for? You've lost your job, you're worried about the economy. What can you give gratitude for? Give gratitude for your own good health. Well, you might say, well, I've suffered from coronavirus. Give gratitude for your health system, give gratitude for your recovery, give gratitude for clean clothes, give gratitude for a bed to lie in, give gratitude for running water, give gratitude for having a car to drive when we get out of this. The everyday things will bring your what's called your vibration up. In other words, it will help your energy system to move, and you cannot feel gratitude and any other emotion. We as humans cannot feel two emotions at the same time. So get into this easy state of gratitude, and you'll find your emotional levels going up the emotional scale. And you can do that at a minute's notice. And then don't tap into the news. Just listen to it once a day or once a week. Keep away from the people that give you negative vibes all the time. Keep away from social media posts that make you feel unhappy. Click on the button that says unfollow for 30 days. It's a good thing to do.
Yeah, you're so right. The other thing that I was kind of wondering as you were speaking too is, you know, if you are at the process where you may have lost your job or you're trying to think of what your future is going to be, something like taking the test, it's not even a test, it's just a questionnaire more so, but could that not give you a path or at least an idea of a path for the future to show you where your strengths are and show you what type of work would be best for you?
Yes, absolutely. And of course, it's a positive step towards your future. And what we've got to do is not be looking past. That's not the way we're going. We're looking ahead to our future. So anything that you do that's proactive for your future is going to be a good thing. And taking this test will give you a very clear idea of who you are. Because we are going to come out of this with different perspectives, that's for sure. Many of us are going to come out of this not doing the things that we habitually did because they are no longer of any interest to us. You might have been in a job prior to this coronavirus, which may not particularly have suited you. This might be a fabulous stepping stone for you to move in a different direction. Certainly, taking the test will show you where your inherent strengths lie, what sort of work would really suit you, whether you're a people-oriented person, whether you're a systems-oriented person. It will absolutely give you a good idea. But do anything that moves you forward, because what you're doing right now is creating the person you want to be right now, which will create the person you want to be when we come out of this situation. So if you're in lockdown on a yacht, do some proactive things, educate yourself, go down to the wine cellars of the boat or the storerooms of the boat and find out what wine you've got on board, for example. Do a little quiz with your other stewardesses. Do it. Just find out all about that. Find out about the surfaces and the materials that are used on board, how best to care for them. All of that stuff is moving you forward in your own jobs. There are plenty of things to do to keep yourselves occupied, but do it in a happy state. Put on some happy music. Don't allow people to talk, use the C word for the next 2 hours or something like that. Keeping your vibration up doesn't mean you don't care. It means you're looking after your own well-being. It's a great thing to be doing.
Well, do you know what? You have the most incredible insight. And, whenever I speak to you, and I think I said this off air as well, you always make me feel good. It's almost like, once a day I want to check in with Lynne Edwards and check out where my life is going. Around 6 p.m., after the day is pretty much done and feeling a little bit down, I know, I'll just call Lynne.
Yes, and I'd be very happy to give you some positive advice because for me, it's become my way of being, and I have had times in my life where I've suffered from depression, for example. It's not a nice place to be, and it doesn't serve anybody else. But I've learned how to bring myself out of those states in a very easy way, in a very practical way. And it's a beautiful place to live in a happy state. I wake up every morning, I find myself with a big smile. As soon as I open my eyes, I have this big old smile on my face, and I wonder what the day is going to bring. I feel so lucky. I really do. And I think when you have that positive attitude, positive things come back to you. I really believe that. It's the law of attraction, if anybody's studied it. It is law. It's as real as the law of gravity.
Well, you definitely do make everyone feel positive around you, and for that I'm very grateful and very glad that we became acquainted, because everybody does need a little bit of a boost every once in a while. You can be as positive as you want, and I want to say that to all the listeners and watchers out there as well. It's okay to have a down day. It really is. It's okay to want to cover yourself with a duvet and watch Netflix and ignore the fact that the world exists, but don't stay there. Get back up and keep on going. But you can take that time too. That's all right as well.
It is a good thing to do, because you're indulging yourself, which is self-care. And if you feel in that moment that you would like to just cuddle up under a duvet and watch Netflix wall to wall, you will come out feeling better. Why not do it? It's fantastic. Yeah. Got to look after yourself first, because unless your own cup is full, you cannot give to anybody else. This is something good to remember. If any stewardesses or any deckhands, anybody that's working on boats, you cannot give good service to other people if your cup is half empty, because you are coming from a depleted level already and further depleting that. You've got to be giving from overflow. So get your own cup full first and give from the overflow. It's a great way to live life, and it's a good mantra to have.
Well, you know what, Lynne, I really, truly appreciate your time and your insight into everything, really. And I would encourage anybody out there that if you are questioning your future, if you are looking for work, I mean, even if you are just looking for work, to have this done and to talk to Lynne or Julia and sort of figure out where your strengths lie and where this is a tool, really. It's a great tool to sort of further your career. And we'll provide all those links here as well in order to get in touch. It's really easy. Just head over to Luxury Hospitality Management's website, and of course they can, find out all about you and your special profile as well. That's up there on the website as well.
It is. It's so easy to do, and it's going to be so helpful for you in moving your lives forward.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Lynne, again for your time. We have been chatting with Lynne Edwards from Luxury Hospitality Management. Once again, I said we will put all the information down below this interview for you if you are interested in checking out their services. You have been watching another episode of Coffee and Conversation right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Rhea. I have been your host, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Rhea. It's been a pleasure.